Imagine waking up one morning. You go to the store to buy bread, but when you reach the cashier, your money is useless. The cashier looks at you and says, "If you want this bread, you need to bring me a chicken." Sounds strange, right? But for most of human history, money did not exist. People still traded, bought things, and exchanged goods. But they did not use money. Instead, they used something called the barter system. So the question is, why did humans eventually invent money? To understand that, we have to go back thousands of years. Thousands of years ago, people lived in small communities. Everyone had different roles. Some people were hunters, some were farmers, others made tools or clothing. But there was one big difference compared to today. There was no money. If you wanted something, you could not simply pay for it. Instead, you had to trade something you owned. For example, imagine a farmer who grows wheat and a fisherman who catches fish. If the farmer wanted fish, he could offer some of his wheat in exchange. This exchange of goods was called bartering. For small communities, the barter system worked well. But as societies grew larger, serious problems started to appear. The barter system had a major limitation. For a trade to happen, both people needed to want what the other person had. Economists call this problem the double coincidence of wants. Let's imagine a simple situation. You want fish, so you go to a fisherman. But the fisherman does not want wheat. He wants shoes, but you do not make shoes. Now the trade cannot happen. Another problem was that many goods were difficult to divide. Imagine trying to buy vegetables with a cow. You cannot exactly cut a cow in half just to pay for a smaller purchase. These problems made trading increasingly difficult. As civilizations grew and trade expanded, people needed a better system. And eventually, a new idea emerged. Before coins existed, people began using certain items as primitive forms of money. Different societies used different objects. Some cultures used salt, some used shells, others used beads, livestock, or grain. For example, in some regions of Africa, cowrie shells were widely accepted as a form of money. In ancient Rome, soldiers were sometimes paid with salt. In fact, the English word salary comes from the word salt. These items worked better than simple barter, but they still had problems. Some were heavy, some could spoil. Others were hard to transport over long distances. People needed something that was portable, durable, and widely accepted. This led to one of the most important inventions in human history. Around 2,600 years ago, a major breakthrough occurred. In an ancient kingdom called Lydia, located in what is now modern-day Turkey, the first official metal coins were created. These coins were made from a mixture of gold and silver. What made them special was the stamp placed on the coin. This stamp guaranteed the coin's value. People could trust that the metal coin had a specific worth. This changed everything. Instead of carrying bags of grain or livestock, people could now carry small metal coins. Trade became faster, easier, and more efficient. Soon, the idea of coins spread across civilizations, and the global economy began to evolve. Coins were revolutionary, but as trade continued to grow, carrying large amounts of metal coins became inconvenient. So people developed a new idea: paper money. The first paper money appeared in China over 1,000 years ago. Instead of carrying heavy coins, people could carry lightweight notes representing value. Over time, banks began to appear. People stored their money safely in banks instead of carrying it themselves. Then came credit cards, and eventually digital payments. Today, many people rarely use physical cash. We pay with cards, smartphones, or online transfers. Money has transformed from metal coins to digital numbers on a screen. Despite all these changes, the fundamental idea of money remains the same. Money is essentially a shared belief. A piece of paper or a number on a screen only has value because people trust it. If people suddenly stopped believing in its value, money would become meaningless. In many ways, money is one of humanity's most fascinating inventions. Not because it is made of gold or paper, but because it represents trust between millions of people. So here is an interesting question. If money suddenly disappeared tomorrow, would humanity return to the barter system?